Ready whenever you get ready, Derek.
The people's media. Tonight we're gonna address an issue has been burning on my have are black men not supporting black women, that the way the media portrays it is if black men are not supporting black women in politics. So we're going to address that and other hot topics tonight. But first, we'll go to our host, Mr. Bill Snow, who is the author of the great book, From the Project to the Boardroom. We have Mr. Derek Scott, who is the chair of the Scamming Democrat Party. Mr. Vernon Watson, who is the owner of WBQP TV, where you'll be watching this on Roku, Fire Stick, and YouTube, and of course, all our Facebook pages and other platforms. So we'll get right into it, Derek.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this weekend. Don't have, as you know, we're going to talk about as what Mr. McIntosh, why black men are having difficulty supporting black women. But before we get into that, we want to do our normal round table with our hosts. I do want to acknowledge that Jill is out in Orlando today, and she'll be there today and tomorrow. So we wish her traveling grace as she returns back, and we will miss her. Christina Forrest is out running errands. We hope that she will join us shortly or a little bit later on. And Cheryl, I'm sure, is off doing much needed campaign stuff for Haley Morissette for Florida State House District 2. But for those of you all who are there, we will start with Mr. Bill Snow. Do you have anything for us today?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I do. Saturday, October 5, coming up this coming Saturday, we will be celebrating the life and legacy of my late mom and founder pastor at Community House of Prayer. The church that I attended, my kid brother now pastors, was founded by my mom some 18 years ago. She died of breast cancer back in 2015, 9 years ago. And this we were doing the evening in pink before she, transitioned, but this is the 11th annual evening in pink at 5 p.m. where they give a legacy award to a breast cancer survivor. So if you're in town or if you're not in town and would like to travel in for it, that is this coming Saturday at 5 o'clock p.m. at 6400 North Old Halifax. CHOP is the big old blue sign out by the road that stands for Community House of Prayer.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Bill. Mr. Vernon, what do you have for us?
I don't have anything.
Oh, okay. You sure? Nothing at all?
No.
Anything about the Veterans Day parade or any of that stuff?
Well, yeah, I can talk about that. Yeah, the Veterans Day parade actually is going to be on Veterans Day on 11/11, I believe it is, November. So we're getting prepared to do the Veterans Day parade as well as the MLK parade as well. So, and it's going to be the MLK parade going to be in January. I don't know what the date is off the top of my head, but yeah, we are preparing for both events. Thank you for reminding me of that.
How does one, if you have organizations or things of that nature who may want to participate or walk, is it open? How does one sign up to be a part?
I just called the Joe Harrim at the GCVC, and it's really very inexpensive. I think I don't like $50 you want to be involved with if you want to get a car something in the Veterans Day parade. You have to call for the MLK parade. You have to call Mike Keenan, and I'm not sure exactly what their rates are to get into it for the MLK parade, but it would be I've noticed, Derek, over the years, our participation has begun to drop, among, even though it's still a long parade, but some of the organizations and some of the churches and folks that used to participate is not participating as much as they used to. So we're trying to build it, trying to get it built back up and everything. Uh, so it's a good parade to get in. Also encourage anybody, and particularly anybody that got a small business or a new business or startup business, to get in that parade because it will get recognized for the little bit of money you paid to be in that parade. It's the best well spent money on advertising you ever going to spend because it gets out. You got so many people downtown looking at it. You got so many people on TV looking at it, and then get played back so many times, and it well watched. So I encourage folks to do that, and maybe y'all's organization, should get into it and everything. So if nothing else, that you support the cause.
Yeah, we walked, Skimby Democrats, we had a large group that walked last year. So
Yeah.
I keep having to remind myself not to get too lost in the campaign season that I forget to send my application.
Well,
So,
this is a good one. Since the Veterans Day parade is going to be before the election, it might be a good one. Maybe some money well spent. It's not.
we're participating. I
Are
just
you?
need to. Yeah,
Okay.
we want.
Great.
I just want to. I keep reminding myself not to forget the deadline, so that I can send the $50 and all that stuff in to get that done. So yeah, we definitely want to participate. So.
Okay, very good. Thank you for reminding me.
Mr. McIntosh, what do you have for us today?
Well, the Deltas and Move for Change and the Qs and other organizations are doing something also on October the 5th, Bill, from 9 to 1, I believe, to get out to vote. That's going to be, it's a vaccine awareness and a community rally. That's October the 5th, which would have been my mother's birthday as well. October the 5th would have been her 99th birthday.
Wow.
Wow.
She was still here. But it's information, get out the vote. They're going to have $10 gift cards for people who are doing the vaccine and also door prizes, books for children, the youth. It's at St. John Divine Baptist Church, Missionary Baptist Church, 620 East Jordan Street. Here in Pensacola, Dr. Joseph L. Marshall is the senior pastor. Again, that's Saturday, October the 5th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. They have free refreshment, vaccine information, vaccine for adults, voter registration, voter information, community guest speakers, $10 gift cards for the first 10 vaccine recipient, door prizes, and again, free books. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. Of course, Linda Moore, Sunshine will be there. But it's a great event that we've been partnering with them every year with the Delta. They do a great job in making sure people get vaccinated and working with us to get out the vote. So it's what I have October the 5th.
Okay.
You're losing your audio.
Yeah, you lost it then. I thought it was just me.
No,
you lost my audio?
Yeah, we lost y'all at the very end of it.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, we got you now.
I think they're going to be, we've got, for those who are interested, because this flows right into us, we are want to be mindful that COVID is still out there. So for those of you all who are looking, they're going to be vaccinating for 5 things. And those 5 things are RSV, shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and flu. So I think RSV, shingles, and something else are age and health restricted. So certainly, if you fall within that category and you're in that risk, this would be a great opportunity to come out to get those vaccines. And of course, COVID and flu is open and available for everybody. So it's certainly a worthwhile event. There will also be some great time to learn a little bit more about the ballot. If you have not already done so or need to get some more information, this would be a great opportunity to do that. So certainly do that. As we're talking about it, Mr. McIntosh, I'm sorry, did you have anything else?
I just wanted to say, the Biden administration is passing out free testing kits again. I know you probably can go to COVID.gov. Is that right there?
Yes.
Mm, COVID.gov and get you some free testing kits because even at the Democrat convention this year, there was a lot of people got COVID down there. So we want to make sure that when we be in these gatherings, that we are able to test ourselves as we come out. And but more than that, be sure to get the vaccine. Those shingle shots, if they're doing them for free, because they are like $200 a pop.
Right.
So if they're doing them for free, that would be really great. And the pneumonia shots and all of that, that's something that people don't have to pay for.
Right.
If they do it free, I don't know. I'm not totally sure about that, but that's a good deal right there because Walmart people will be there as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Not
So
Walmart,
Walgreens.
Walgreens. All right, man.
So if I keep in theory of where we're going in terms of announcements, I've got a couple to share with you, and I will try to go in chronological order. But starting, of course, there is a debate watch party happening. As you know, well, if you don't know, Governor Tim Walz, our vice presidential candidate on the Democratic side, is set to debate J.D. Vance on the Republican side. That is scheduled for this week on Tuesday, October the 1st. If you are in Escambia County, I do believe there is a watch party at the American Legion Post 193 on 12th Avenue. So please feel free to engage and attend that event. It is open to the public. So as many of you who are in our viewing audience can go, please do so. If you are in Santa Rosa County, there's going to be a debate held at, it starts at 7:45 p.m. and that's going to be at Pedro's in Gulf Breeze, and that's located at 3095 Gulf Breeze Parkway. That's Gulf Breeze, Florida. So if you're crossing from Escambia, if you go over the Chappie James Bridge and go into, I believe it's the second traffic light in Gulf Breeze, you make a left. It's kind of over behind the Panera and stuff on the left-hand side. There's a Walmart and all that stuff in that plaza. You can go there. It's a small cafe there. Join them if you are in Santa Rosa County. If I continue to move on Thursday at 6 p.m. at Zion Hope Primitive Baptist Church, you can meet the City of Pensacola and Escambia County's Democratic candidates. This is going to be held again at Zion Hope Primitive Baptist Church, located at 201 West Leonard Street in Pensacola. It is free and open to the public. This is not a Democratic Party sponsored event. This was something that, Zion Hope and their leadership under Pastor Mason decided to hold. So it is open. You can hear from all of the candidates. As I understand, they are all planning to be there. It's a great opportunity. If you have not heard from them personally or have not met them, to know who they are, come out on that Thursday. If that Thursday does not work for you, that's okay, because on Friday, which is October the 4th, at 5:30 p.m., the Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus is having a mixer and political rally. This event is a co-sponsored event between the Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus and Mr. Doug Baldwin, who is the owner and proprietor of the Pensacola Improv Event Center. It is going to be, again, Friday, October the 4th at 5:30 p.m. at the Pensacola Improv Event Center, 375 North Pace Boulevard. Tickets for that event are $20. You can either purchase them at the door or through Act Blue. You will have a free drink with admission, and by drink I mean something that's a little more than Coke or water. There are light hors d'oeuvres. There's a cash bar for anything over that. We will have some entertainment by our very own DJ Hill, also known as Haley Morissette, candidate for State House District 2, as well as DJ Whippet. So this is, again, another opportunity for you to hear from the candidates, get some information on the ballot amendments. Anything, if you need to request a vote by mail ballot, learn how to do that. If you need to register vote, this is an opportunity to do so, because we only have just a little over, what, a week?
October 7th. October 7th.
October 7th is the last day to register to vote so that you can vote in this election. So if you need to pick up signs or literature for Vice President Harris and other candidates, you can do so. Again, this is a co-sponsored event between the Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus as well as Doug Baldwin. So I hope that all of you all here on the panel will be there and can make it. And we look forward to a successful thing. And of course, as Mr. McIntosh said, there is that Saturday event at St. John Divine. And if I fast forward to October the 11th, which is the following Friday, the Okaloosa chapter of the NAACP will be having their annual Freedom Fund banquet. I was supposed to ask, I know Mr. McIntosh is a maybe. Mr. Bill, Mr. Vernon, are you all interested in going to be attending that?
I'm definitely a maybe. I'm trying to juggle something else right now, but definitely a maybe. I really would like to be there.
Yeah, I'm a maybe as well, because I had something previously scheduled. If I can get out of it, I will, okay?
Okay, all right. So that is going to be at that is going to be at, I think, oh wait, before I start lying, it's going to be on the 11th, and I will come back up with the details in just a moment. But we're going to be hearing from Carlton Myers. That's how you pronounce his last name?
It's
right?
Myers.
Myers. Carlton Myers.
It looks like Myers, but it's Myers.
Carlton Myers, who will be there for he'll be their keynote speaker. So it's a great opportunity. You certainly don't want to miss that. So that again is Friday, October the 11th. And as usual, go ahead. Were you about to say
No, I just about to say I wish I'd have called him today so he'd have been on and talk about it.
Yeah, so we have quite a few things to do. There's some opportunities. It's a busy cycle and a busy season, but certainly one that you don't want to sit out, because this is an all hands on deck event time. So we hope that everybody can join us for all, but certainly at least one of these incredibly important events. All right.
Want to holler at my sister. She's always watching. RLA says she ain't talking about my mom's birthday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes. 99. Wow.
Yeah. That's what how old she would have been if she'd still been alive.
Wow. 1924. 1923.
25.
25. Wow.
1925.
Right there in the Great Recession, man.
Yeah.
Just getting over it anyway.
Yeah, they went through it because it went through it to the late 40s. I mean, they really just started picking up in the late 40s, but during that era, Jim Crow and all was taking place with black people, so they didn't see no difference in the so-called progression of the economy at that time.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a hell of a time back then. Yeah. But anyway, I see Christine is watching. I want to say hello to Christine. Christine Forrest. Anyway, there was a execution that took place here. It was 5 people that was executed. 2 of them possibly more than likely were innocent. Black guy, his last name is Williams. I think it was Marcellus Williams. He he was executed, the Supreme Court had no compassion for him whatsoever. And we know for years that Black men and women have been lynched in America. And now that you have these 5 conservatives on the Supreme Court, or 6 conservatives rather on the
Six.
Supreme Court, that is, they are out to lynch anybody that Trump says need to be lynched, and whether you're innocent or not. And they knew that this man was possible. Even the prosecutors went before the Supreme Court and begged to let the man live because they saw the evidence that he more than likely didn't commit a crime. But they lynched him anyway and executed that innocent man. And they wasn't the first one there. It was one, I guess, about 6 or 7 years ago. That was that the courts upheld his execution, knowing that he was possibly innocent. And so, you know, this is why it's so important. People want to know why it's important to vote. It's important to vote because these are the kinds of people that ends up on the Supreme Court, the appellate court, you know, all of the other courts around the country, circuits and all of that. These are the kinds of people that have no sympathy or no concern. We are the only so-called, quote, Western nation that's still putting people to death in a country like ours that's supposed to be so-called civilized. How can you say you civilized when you are you're lynching people sponsored by the state, state-sponsored lynching that has done irreparable damage to that family and other people that knew, and even the people that were defending him as well, because they know what time it is. If you can do this to innocent people, no, without any recourse and without any concern about the people that you're supposed to be saying that you are protecting in the country, what recourse do we have? When you think about that, but that's the way it is. You got another Black man that's lynched in America, and that's unfortunate too. And the Supreme Court is this is why I need term limits on the Supreme Court. To every 15 years, they need to be termed out, and a new crop of people brought in. With the caveat that you can be reappointed if you're a good person on the Supreme Court. And then now they're putting the people that's much, much younger, that's going to be on 30, 40, and 50 years, that's reaping havoc on the lives of people. And the decisions that they are making are so draconian, backwards looking, that they don't even care. They don't, because they want to rule by fiat, and that's what they are doing because they want minority rule in the country, and this is why it's so important that Kamala Harris win this election for the presidency, but not just for the presidency, the Senate races and all of that need to be. We need to vote up and down the ticket overwhelmingly to make sure that we don't have people like this on the Supreme Court with the potential of being put on the Supreme Court. Because if Donald Trump wins, 2 of them gonna drop out. They're gonna leave the court. Clarence Thomas, one of them, so they can appoint more younger and more vile Supreme Court justice. Derek.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate in the Marcellus Williams case. We looked at it, almost on the legal side, the prosecutors, the DA, the state's attorney, the attorney general, everybody said, don't execute this man because the DNA evidence said otherwise, that he was wrongfully convicted. Certainly needs a stay of execution. And even amidst the face of all evidence pointing that he didn't do it, it wasn't as if they were even saying, let him out of jail or give him a new trial. They simply just said, don't execute him because the evidence says otherwise.
Right.
And that man still said, nope.
I mean,
you got to go.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, it's not, when you look at, I think what's critical to this is the actions of the governor of that state and how he hands out pardons left and right, but they're only to white people.
Yeah.
When you think about, there was a couple, I forget their names, during the George Floyd protests.
Right.
If you remember that married white couple came out in the middle of, not in the protest, but they came on their lawns and started pointing to AK-47s and their rifle shotguns at protesters, right? They were sentenced, rightfully so, to prison time. That man came and said, nope.
Yeah, we're gonna pardon him. And he pardoned other people as well that was white.
Right.
For vicious crimes.
Right.
And but for a man that haven't done anything, that was innocent.
Yeah, he pardoned a January 6th insurrectionist. I mean, it's the list goes on. But again, they didn't ask you to pardon the man. They said stay the execution. And it was more important for him to kill a black man and make what I feel to be an example of how, okay, he's sending a message. To me, he was trying to send a message to black men and say, if you are accused or look at or even blink in the direction of a white woman, in 2024, we still will kill you. Make no mistake about it.
And that's exactly what he did. He had the opportunity, and Kay Ivory right here in Alabama. And the way they killed this guy over here, just with the nitrogen, which sucked the oxygen out of your body, threw away, to die. I don't know, they say he's supposed to have killed 2 or 3 people. I don't know whether it's 2 or not, but it seems to me that you can find a different way, and execution because of the many people that have been executed in this country that was black, that was lynched in this country that was black. It seems to me that they should have done away with lynching a long time ago. Even though you got laws against lynching, but you can be lynched. You can be lynched by the state. You can be, the state can sponsor lynchings, but but you got laws against it, and something has to be done. Something has to change, especially for us, because it could be any of us. Any of us can be, adjudicated wrong in this country and end up on death row. And since 1972, it has been more people taken off of death row than any time, in history. Because with the DNA now, you're finding that most of these people are innocent. And they knew that their DNA exonerated the guy, but they still killed him anyway. There was another guy, and that the whole country was behind. They still executed because they want to show that we're gonna do it anyway. We the state, we had the power to execute, so we're gonna do it anyway, regardless of how people feel. And this is why voting is so important. This is why when people running around talking about my vote don't count. Yeah, your vote do count. Your vote will count if you vote. Going back to after slavery, when 80%, we had 80% participation in the voting during early 1900s and the 1800s, and right after that, they made sure we couldn't vote again like that in mass numbers, because 80% of black men voted for voted in the election. They voted for black and whites at the same time to change the uh, trajectory and the legislation that was being done. But then they came with this movie. Uh, what was the name of that movie, Vern? Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation. Yeah, yeah, White House. Yeah, making this movie did more to discredit blacks in the country than anything else in the history of this country, in all the animal history, because of what it did. It made black men look like they had them chasing, white women and raping white women. The black men had their feet up on the desk, they were just doing all, in the movie. And there was nothing like that. And ever since then, that movie had done more damage and is still reverberating uh, throughout history right now because of that. And and it's still, people still go back and watch that, Birth of a Nation, and make it so that they can justify their ignorance and their stupidity and the evil that they have done in this country. So, yeah, this is why it's so important to vote. And this is why it's important who we put in the White House, who we put in Congress, who we put in the Senate, and the state legislators, and from all the way down to the mayors and city council. It's important. And this, because it could be anybody that end up on death row for something they didn't do. And with all the DNA evidence that they had, all of some years ago, we were working with some people through Move for Change. And two guys that was exonerated, they came and spoke after, we were helping to push statewide for them to exonerate these guys because the DNA showed that they were not the people that they finally got off of death row. And it's finally they got their rights restored in the country. But they was a few minutes away from death themselves. They was, like the last hours that, the governor decided to exonerate them and send them home. But that's how bad it really is when it comes to black people. But we'll move on and look at it inside Project 2025. In Project 2025, Trump wants to expand the death penalty. He wants to, if somebody's on death row, he wants them dead right away. Everybody that's on death row, and when you look at Project 2025, it said he want them dead. They, no lingering, no appeals, no sitting until you are found innocent. Even if you are innocent, we want to expand the death penalty so that people can, will not appeal, have a chance to appeal, even if they are innocent. So that's something we have to talk about as well in the coming days on these executions. But Derek, one of the things that the hurricane. What I want to talk about, Scott done changed his tune on the hurricane now that it done tore up all these places in Florida, and they were showing today that it's people still trying to get their place fixed from the last hurricane. That's because the insurance company is not paying the people for their houses, and then when they are undercutting them so low that they can't even afford to get their house fixed. And they tried to do it to me, but I went on got me a public adjuster with lawyers, and they finally gave me what I deserved. But at first they were talking about giving me really nothing. Talking about, here's a check. No, you keep that. That's yours. I want what's coming to me. I want mine. That was yours there, buddy. I want my check. I want
Yeah.
what it costs to fix my house. But you're
They
not
did the same,
gonna take advantage of me.
and they did the same thing in 2020 uh,
Mhm,
with Sally at about $30,000 worth of damage that
mhm.
State Farm assessed. Oh, here's $9,000, and I'm like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Like, what are we supposed to do with that? Had to take
Right.
that to arbitration with the state. So I got you, and still
Mhm.
didn't. So that was what, 2020.
Yeah.
I finally got the fence repaired in 2023. So it took quite some time. So I can imagine there are still, it is certainly feasible that there are people still trying to get their houses fixed. Imagine those who have claims from prior storm who are barely holding on to their privately held insurance, like State Farm and whoever else is left in the state of Florida, now having to put a second claim on top of that claim. You know that's going to be disastrous for the homeowners, and likely not even paid, because I'm sure after these storms, what the few insurers that are remaining will
Leave.
bail out. You know?
Yeah. There was one guy saying that, he got a mortgage on the house that he can't live in. He paying rent in an apartment, but he still got to pay the insurance on the house that he owns. But he can't live in the house that he owns. So he got insurance, no, I mean bill. He got his house, his mortgage, and then he had to pay rent to live somewhere else because the insurance company has undercut him and don't want to pay them what the house is worth to because now it's the longer you go, the more mold grow in the house. The house is open. Uh, tarp's not going to work for that long, especially when they get hot. They gonna the holes go to coming in them and all of that. So it's really a bad situation here in Florida. But now Scott want to do something about climate change,
Mm.
but only because that lady has been talking about climate change and what she want to do. What's her name? Derek, the
Debbie
lady.
McCarcel Powell.
Yeah, Powell. She's running against him, and she's been talking about what she want to do if she become the senator. And now all of a sudden he's talking about, oh, we're gonna do something about climate change. No, you're not. Because if you were, you would have done something when you was governor, when you first became senator. You rejected everything. As a matter of fact, he told his staff not to even talk about climate change. And DeSantis told them not to even put it in the um, I guess the archives that climate change and talk about it. Don't even talk about climate change. But we see the results now. And it took Joe Biden to get some 300, I think was it 300 million there? 300 billion for climate change. I think that's what it was. And but it's devastating right now. It is totally devastating on the climate of what's really happening right now.
Yeah.
Another sad statistic, Brother Jerry. I heard a newscaster saying that most of the evacuees out of the storm that just came through, most of the evacuees didn't have $400 saved up for an emergency. And I couldn't help but to think, how can that be in a red state that votes Republican? They need to be voting with us, man.
Well, and that's what we've been saying all along, that these are people that vote against their own interests. They vote against their
Absolutely.
interests. They vote against people who could help them. It's just like with Kamala Harris that's running right now for president. It's no way that a criminal should be running neck and neck with her. It's just no way that should be happening.
the thing about that neck and neck race is we see what just transpired in New York with the mayor and people of color calling for his resignation. Now, we're no fans of Mayor Adams, but how can you guys demand an instant resignation on an indictment when this guy has 34 convictions, man? It makes no sense. We have to try to make it make sense. It doesn't.
Mm. Well, only thing about that is if you know, they're gonna use that to say, see, the Democrats are doing it, you know. And the thing about it, I do believe they got the goods on Adam.
Once they come the way they did it in Adams, when they come with, they don't come like that until they get enough to come.
Yeah, and they charge them with racketeering. If it was me, I'd be like, okay, y'all got me. Let me make a deal here.
Yeah,
I step down as mayor. What can we do to, get
right.
me maybe a house arrest or something?
Something.
Because I don't want to be in open jail with all these people that I done messed over and
former policeman, yes.
Yeah, because
this is when I like, so I'll say, as a former resident and a person who lived quite a bit of time in Brooklyn while he was Brooklyn Borough president, I would say that he's always been shady, right? And so I would say a blanket statement, then I'm gonna say one that for us. It always amazes me when people who have grotesque skeletons in their closet try to aspire for these very high profile and visible positions, i.e., the mayor of New York City. That's crazy. If I knew, like, I don't want anybody, I haven't done anything really. I've done a couple of things, but I haven't done really anything. And I certainly don't want anybody digging into my past, like,
comparatively speaking, you ain't done nothing.
I ain't done nothing, right? But like, I don't want anybody digging into my past or who I'm related to or stuff like that. Like, I don't want anybody writing a story about me in the newspaper. So, and I'm just, a chair of a local party. I couldn't imagine. I wouldn't even want to run for public office here in the Escambia County because and you running for the mayor of New York City. Now, I don't want anybody to think that I got.
No, we got you, man. We got you.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I don't understand if you've been shady, because I know he knows he's shady. Everybody knows that man is shady, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand why him or anybody else move at these or gravitate to these aspirational or very high profile positions where that scrutiny, background checks, investigations are paramount or come hand in hand to that. Now I'm going to take it a step further. I think it's absolutely ridiculous when people of color try to operate in the same manner that that non-people of color do. Some of them can do that and can get away and be like, oh, okay, maybe after a couple of years they will move past it. Nope. We don't have the complexion for protection. So I don't understand why, if they get them, surely I don't understand why you don't think they were going to get you, right? That's why I don't understand. Like, you aren't moving that stealthily,
It's a dirty game, man.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about up to the highest levels. I ain't talking about this little local penny in it, man. I'm talking about you're spending $3-4 billion to win a $400,000 a year job, man. It's a dirty game, man. And what they do is they buy them off early on, and once they get bought off early on, then they're puppets. You're gonna do it this way. So I mean, you're absolutely right in your statement, man, to open yourself up to that kind of scrutiny, especially knowing, man, they're coming, man, they coming for us, man. You ain't no doubt about it. You one little old false turn. But when his people started getting their cell phones seized last month and 6 weeks ago, the jig was up, man.
Yeah, it was. He should have went on trying to make a deal then.
Make a deal, man.
Let me walk into the office and say, I did it. You got me. Just stop investigating. Let's do this quietly. And so I'll step down. I just don't put my name in the paper. Don't do something. Now it's all over the TV.
Well, now,
crazy.
4 months ago, he flew to, I want to say, D.C., and during that flight, news broke that they were at him. Right along that time, man, he should have got back to New York, got with his attorney and say, look,
make a deal.
Because
fly
the hammer coming down, man.
He didn't fly from New York to D.C. via Turkey, did he? Let me give you my take on it, okay? I'm no fan of Eric Adams. You know, some people you can just get some feels about him. Like I didn't have a good feel for Lori Lightfoot either, but I have a less of a feel for him. But at the same time,
you were an Ed Koch guy. You were an Ed Koch guy.
Oh, hell to the no. Mayor Daley guy either. But anyway, but you know, I guess from a different perspective, okay, what happened to the rule of law, okay? Technically speaking, I hear you. He might be guilty in the eyes of the court of opinion, public opinion, but he's still innocent in the rule of law. Okay. And now what they're talking about, the mayor, the governor removing him and stuff like that, I think it's a little bit premature. And I don't blame him either for not resigning. Hell, you got, like you said, you got a convicted criminal running for president and got away with all kinds of crap and stuff like that. And why we have to draw the moral line all the time? Come on, Bill. I know you want to get in there.
Because it's a different system, Vern.
Yeah,
it's a different system, man. Look, man, all of this is geared toward you and I, man. It ain't for them. They can do this. We clearly see that. We clearly see that with 34 convictions, man, and running for the highest office in the land. And just indictments alone, this fella here is looking at some serious time, man, if he doesn't cut a deal. There are two tiers of justice. Clearly, did you not see at the top of the show that they sent the message that we don't care if there is evidence to find you innocent. We are the state, the deep state, and this is how it is, and we still are lynching just as if Jim Crow era did not end, man. That rule of law doesn't really work for us, Vernon.
I got a question for you though. Is Eric Adams? He's a Democrat, Republican, or what?
Democrat.
He's a Democrat. Well, okay. I want to throw another rock into the house. Okay. It seems to me though that our current Attorney General, and there's plenty Republican to go out there as well. Okay. I really don't see him going after a lot of Republicans other than 30. Well, he didn't even go after them because everybody was after Trump. So, but I've seen several under his watch. Under his watch, I saw several Democrats that he had been taking down. I got an issue with that, and I know these Republicans are dirty.
Why won't he go after Clarence?
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, man.
Yeah.
I agree with you too, Vern, but we know, like Bill says, you know, if they'll put you to death for being innocent, they'll put you under the prison for finding you guilty, and they will find you guilty of because they've been watching him for years. So
right.
when he was president of the Bronx, he was
Chief.
yeah, the Bronx when he was chief executive over the Bronx. They had been watching him. They got all kinds of evidence on it. And there's people that's flipping now, like, they
But
thinking
you know what
you
the irony
yeah,
of the whole thing is? Okay. And for the kind of charges they're getting for upgrading.
yeah, yeah.
When we
That's
got folks trying to divert democracy and y'all help me please. I don't know. That's
but that was Southern
Southern
was that
District.
Southern District of New York that went after him.
Yeah,
Uh, and the same brother that went after Trump went after him.
yeah.
Uh,
No,
you know,
Southern District of New York is the lady. That's the
huh?
woman. That's the woman, not the man.
Right.
Letitia.
Letitia
Yeah,
James.
Letitia. Yeah, she
Southern
the
District. Yeah, the guy,
she
the
district
guy, his brother
attorney.
is the DA for the city.
DA, right? The DA, right. But I'm saying they hooking him up. And that's why Maya Wiley would have been a great mayor. The lady that ran against him, but they didn't vote for her because she's with a woman. So, but she would have been a great person for the
Yeah.
mayor. She was a civil rights attorney. She don't have all that baggage that he had. But then, when he first got elected, I was saying then that this dude is not the person for black people, you know.
Yeah.
But then when you see him when he in trouble, he's surrounded by black folks.
Yeah.
He's surrounded. He done got him a whole
But
cadre of black people.
you know the sad part about it, Jerry? He gonna ride that same wagon against the Democrats that the Republicans are doing it. He's gonna try to convince the world that the only reason they're coming after him is because his positions on the
Immigration.
and immigration in New York City and how
That's what
he
set
stood
it all
against it.
off.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's what he's gonna say.
that's
But
what he's gonna say. Yeah, that's his defense.
yeah, but that's not true because they know they've been after him for years,
Them,
and
them,
and because
them texts,
all that stuff that he when they
paper
start collecting,
trail. When they
they've been
come at 4:30 in the morning, they got the goods, man.
they got the goods on.
They got the goods. They ain't coming bothering you, man, at 4:30 in the morning.
They're not gonna come after a mayor or a sitting mayor like that unless they have some goods on it. And and they saying people are, that you think Patti LaBelle can sing with us.
Well, Jerry, but you make a very valid point. Make a very valid point. They are not going after those high profile officials unless they got some goods on them. It wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense for them to go after Trump if they didn't have the really goods on them. It wouldn't make any sense. The mayor of the largest city in America, they're gonna go after unless they know they got the goods on them. That makes sense. And so
$20,000 upgrades, man. Boy, I tell you.
But
and then pressuring the fire department to get the Jewish the Turkish consulate opened up without fire inspect. Man, come on, man.
Bill,
and them folks aren't singing like Jerry said, man. They're singing.
Bill, I think though when they start digging, that's just the surface stuff. Okay, when they start digging, it's gonna be much deeper than just some upgrades and requesting permission, directing permission for something. I think it's going to be a lot more uncovered than what we probably know about right now. For them to, I just can't see them going after him just for those types of things like that. Maybe they would, but I think they got something a little more heavier.
I agree.
To throw at
I agree. It's deeper. I agree.
Yeah.
It seems a bit much, just to like, and then when you look at it, I bet he was like, man, all this, because I asked for them, because I was dumb enough to say, open the building a little faster. That's crazy. Like, I mean, if you're going to do something, get like $10 million and be like, okay, well, I got my $10 million and it was ill-gotten, and they got me. Well, but you doing something for something you ain't got nothing to do with. Like you now in jail because the Turkish people wanted a consulate.
But see, they've been flying him around. You know, they flew him from Turkey to other places around the world. And and you didn't, you have to put that on your tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, why do you? Okay, so I just put yourself in this situation. All right, you're the mayor, or at that time Brooklyn Borough president,
Mhm.
and they say, hey, we want the consulate open in Brooklyn. Hook us up. We'll fly you to Turkey.
Yeah.
I'll be like, well, I ain't never been to Turkey. I don't know that I want to go to Turkey. I'm good. Like, I mean, just kind of,
Well, but
Well,
Derek,
they courted him in the early days because he was
like,
rising.
so if you just could you want to go to Turkey? Like, I don't understand. Like, okay.
I guarantee you said it. It's deeper. It's deeper. They're leaving out the palms being greased part until the court. I
Now,
promise.
when you say he got like $3 million, then I'll be like, oh, okay, well, all right. So you got caught for, I won't say a legitimate reason, but you got caught. At least you made it worth your while, at least, or something.
Ain't nothing worth your while. Not no jail
Derek,
time, but there ain't no money.
I think that's what you're going to see later on. There's a lot of quid pro quo going on in there, and if they're going to get him for quit, well, Trump. The only difference between Trump and most criminals is that Trump do it in front of your face. He done already set up quid pro quo, which is illegal. He done already told Elon Musk, if you give me money for my campaign and support me, I'll make you something in my administration.
I'm gonna create a position
and then what's called Musk told him, well, if you promote my electric cars, I'll do this for you. Okay, because he was against electric cars until he got, there's quid pro quo everywhere. And so if they're not going to prosecute that bastard for quid pro quo, why are they prosecuting everybody else for quid pro quo? Okay?
Because there's two tiers of justice in this country.
Well, I get that. I've been black all my life, and I've seen that, experienced that all the time. But you know what? The ironic part about it. But you're right though. We black folks know that from birth. Okay, there's two systems of justice. We can't do what the white people do and get away with it. But sometimes we get in positions thinking that, well, maybe I can, and it never works. I never seen anybody to except for Don King. He's the only one that I know black that got away with it.
But he did time though. He
did time before.
Right. I always look at it when you say two tiers. There's tier one, which I think are white people, right?
Yeah.
And tier two,
the privileged tier.
Tier two, which is everybody else, right? Right? Sometimes,
white privilege.
To your point,
white privilege.
When we, as people of color, start ascending to tier one environments, we think that we have like American Express, like we're here, it has its privileges. But you have to remember, you might ascend to tier one environments, but you go back to tier two, you always there. Like you're still in tier two, and you need to remember that you're in tier two. Sometimes we forget. And I think it's these types of situations that undermine just anybody.
Hey, that's a glass ceiling we're never gonna break.
The United States is.
That's correct.
We can't break that glass ceiling. I can tell you that right now.
I don't care.
We'll bounce off of it.
You can be a billionaire. You can't break it. Ain't gonna break it.
Well, you can see that from the presidential race right now.
Here's Diddy.
Foul, lying, rapist, 34-count felon, 2-time impeached fraud, running for president against somebody with a record that should be that's not even that's an unvarnished record. In other words,
impeccable.
Yeah, impeccable record, but he's in a tight race with this criminal.
Yes,
because he's rich and white.
Now, he ain't quite white, but
yeah,
rich and painted.
Whatever. spray painted, whatever he is, but the thing about it, she got to work double hard, and he get up there and just lie about Joe Biden was not intelligent, and she was born, he lost his intelligence. She was born unintelligent, and he can't string together two sentences.
Well, Jay, but we have been taught all our lives that anywhere we have to work twice as hard and know twice as much than our white counterparts do. So that's just no more different than what we've been trained and taught all our lives. So in order for her to get it, and she still may not get it, even though she's twice as smart, work twice as hard, all that kind of stuff to get the same. Like y'all just trying about the tiers, the Derek trying right. We're trying to get to this tier, and we here. But every time we have to, in order for us to get to that tier, we had to do twice and three times as hard just to get to that same tier that some unprivileged white person just walk into.
Affirmative action.
Some mediocre white person.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
Hey, this dude is mediocre. He never done anything in his life. Never.
Right.
His privilege comes from his daddy riches.
Money.
And pretending, be a business person. He bankrupt everything he ever put his hand on. From the USFL, from the in Jersey, what Atlantic City.
Yeah. Bankrupt the casino.
Casino. You asked that question before. How do you bankrupt a
casino? I don't understand it either. Crashed, bankrupt the casino, crashed an airline.
Yeah.
And he will bankrupt America if we give him an opportunity.
He almost did. If he'd got another 4 years, he would bankrupt America. If he'd got another 4 years. Yeah. But I don't know how in the hell that he got people fooled that he had did so much for the country, and the economy was so. Yeah, you inherit an economy from President Obama that had been moving forward for what 15 months in a row. I mean, that was continued to grow even into his administration until he gave that big tax credit to his rich buddies, and it froze the economy. Then he put tariffs on other countries that then we had to bail out the farmers to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars because of tariffs. People forget about that. And he's still talking about tariffs. Tariffs on other countries.
I don't think America's gonna be. Fool me once, shame on me, but fool me twice. I mean, shame on you, fool me once, but shame on me if you fool me. I don't think we're gonna go for that okie-doke again, Jerry. I just don't believe America. Most Americans that stupid. I'm vote wise, but we don't have to. We have, because of our system. We can't worry about. We're not gonna worry about the popular vote, because I know Kamala Harris can get the popular vote. But why they're gonna end up cheating is with that electoral college. They're gonna cheat their way in. So most Americans don't feel the same way as those whoever they want to call them, the MAGA folks. But they stacking the deck in order to try to manipulate that electoral college, and they doing some things that will do that. And what I'm afraid of is that this is democracy, Jerry. Like I said, with no guardrails. Okay, all those red states, if they refuse to certify their election, even when they know they lost, where are we now? Okay, we will have another. On January 6, 2025, we can't certify the thing. So we're going to be in a real what they call real constitutional crises and that's what they're setting the stage for now. Is just not have the states to certify those elections. Last time, most all the states did certify, but they didn't want the vice president to certify it. But we'll see what happens.
And that's why the Attorney General and Joe Biden come in. Joe Biden has to activate the National Guard for a state of emergency nationwide to make sure those votes are counted. Merrick Garland had to make sure that there are people in place
Not impressed with
to.
Merrick Garland.
I know that dude is as
Weak.
as slow as when you waited 2 years to even file a case against Trump, another year to get a special prosecutor. So, I mean, when you think about it, he has done just as much to help Trump as anybody, the Republican, Merrick Garland. Trying to keep from looking like, oh, I'm biased. No, the hell with
Do your
this.
job.
This is a man who want to be dictator of this country, who want to put you in jail. He will put him in jail. Because he already said, he said it again today at his speech today, that he going after everybody that he think did something to him. Now ain't nobody did nothing to him but himself. But he the real criminal. But he want everybody to believe that somebody is doing something to him, and then he try to make people think they doing something to them. But I'm gonna take the hit for you. You
Right.
know, when you vote for me, I take the hit for you. Hey, Christina, how you doing today?
Hey, Christina.
Hey,
Hey,
Chris.
I'm just glad to be here. Sorry for being on late. This is a real interesting conversation. It's just great to be here. I had an awesome weekend. I got to go and listen to Derek for the amendment information that he gave, and then there was information there about Project 2025, and that was fantastic. And so I'm really grateful that Derek put that on with Real Women's Radio and Our Voices. And then I got to go to Chester Pruitt Park and hang out there for a while with Jill Lewis Daggs and the Democratic Black Caucus and NAACP, Real Women's Radio, for their Get Out the Vote. And that was an awesome, awesome time. So just glad to be here.
Welcome home.
Thanks.
So we were talking about Eric Adams and Donald Trump. What is your take on what's happening with Eric Adams? We know that we talked about the double standard.
So, there's been so many really good Democrats. And I think that's really the difference between Democrats and Republicans is that so many Democrats are looking at this and calling for him to step down, step aside. And I'm glad our party is speaking up, that when we see something wrong within our party, we're not quiet about it. We call it, and, it's time for him to step aside. This is not a time to be wrapped up in a scandal. We don't need this right now, for real. So yeah, he needs to step aside, and if what he was doing was not above board, then he needs to come out and say that. Because like you were talking about a double standard, we all know Giuliani, was never above board. We all know there was a bunch of folks that were never above board. That doesn't ever make it okay or all right or something that we should accept.
Right. And you're right about Giuliani. That was another criminal that came. When he came from the mayorship, went straight into with Trump and started his criminal activities all over again, and tried to, went nationwide trying to steal the election for Trump. I mean, they went to court 63 times. 63 times. They went to court with no evidence, and every judge thought, where's the evidence? Well, we don't have any. Well, get out of here. But they went from state to state, but what they were trying to do is make it as if Black people stole the election. They went after Atlanta, they went after Arizona, they went after Wisconsin, Michigan, Philly, everywhere black people voted in overwhelming numbers, they went after them everywhere. And that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to say that we have no right to be even voting in America. And that's the even white people were saying that. So this is what they are saying to black people in America, that they shouldn't be voting. And
So, yeah. So every time Trump is like, the election was stolen, in Georgia, all that plays. So first of all, it's so disrespectful to all those families that put their literal lives on the line to come and speak out, that he still has the platform to be able to speak out against those folks. And I think what Vernon said is very, very true about the states not wanting to recertify votes. And, I'm really, I'm on edge. I really am. Because that's all kind of laid out in Project 2025 and kind of the ramp up to that. So I didn't get to hear that part of the speech with when Derek did his event yesterday, but that's kind of all tied in together on like this takeover. And so, yeah, it's scary.
Well, Christina, what's your take on Trump's rally a couple of weeks ago in Georgia berating Kemp, and Kemp a week or two ago endorsing him? What's your take on that?
The same take I have on him with when 2016 with Ted Cruz, and even now with Ted Cruz, it's cowardice, and it is it's those folks being afraid of losing their electorate because they see that the majority of their electorate is behind Trump, so they don't want to lose that portion. Instead of just standing up, speaking out, doing the right thing, and just saying, this ain't right. If more people would come out and say this isn't right, we wouldn't be in this situation. It's just, I think it's appalling. Like I said, when we see it on our side, we have to play so much above board. And when we see it on our side, we call it out. We ask folks to step aside. We're like, no, we're not going to take this X, Y, and Z. But, on the other side, just to be like, nah, it's cool. We're good.
Right.
And
Okay.
literally your life on the line. Like, do you not remember those calls, those threats, all of that? And now you're saying this guy's okay because you're so scared of losing your position that had you have not stood up and stood out in the first place, we could have lost this entire nation. And so what you're actually saying is, Black folks come save me. I mean, really, because you're thinking it's a sure thing. Like, I don't even know what that means.
Right. Yeah, because if endorsing him means that I lose it all, by George, it's lost. Right is right, and right ain't gonna wrong nobody, and there's no way. You're right. Thank you, Christina.
That's what's happening in Georgia right now. They got these three clowns on the election board there that have changed the whole thing. Now we got people gonna have to count by hand, really?
Yeah.
And they can delay it long enough to throw it into Congress, and if they throw it into the Congress with the Republicans in charge, they will determine who the president will be.
Right.
And it won't be Kamala Harris.
It's a delay tactic, I think, Jerry, because it's been proven that the machines count a whole lot better than human error can count. So it's simply a delay tactic that we don't get the results election night, which we have grown accustomed to. But it's a delay tactic.
And see, those individuals should be arrested. They should be arrested. That's why the Justice Department should be in there. Joe Biden should do a state of emergency to make sure the vote is counted. I'm not saying the people have to harass anybody, but you want to make sure that the vote is counted and counted right and fairly. And it should be done by those machines and not by somebody that they handpicked to count that probably would throw votes away. We need people standing there making sure the vote is counted. And that's the power of the presidency, and that's his job, to protect the American people from foreign and domestic. That's his constitutional authority. And the Justice Department should be right there with the lawyers, all over, deputizing lawyers all over the country, as Justice Department lawyers, deputizing them to make sure that every vote is counted and watched, so that there will not be any problem. But if they can get away with it by harassing and throwing things out, throwing out votes and not counting, delaying these delaying tactics that they've trying to push it into the House with a Republican House. Because the thing about it, what people fail to realize, if the vote was unfair, then all these people that's in office should be out of office. They should not be there as Republican representatives, because they saying the vote was unfair. So it was only unfair to other people, but it's not unfair that you won. So we need to really push that from now on, to make sure people understand what's going on. And one of the things Derek said last week, that we need to start a civic lessons. And hopefully Kamala win, and we can continue to do that civic lessons as much as possible, to inform people how government works, because they haven't been informed on that at all yet.
And
go ahead, Bill.
And remember that that hand counting is only on election day, November 5. So please, early vote, mail-in ballots, do it. That way it'll be a whole lot less to count, and we can get the results on election eve.
So I do want to kind of talk about the results on election eve. So like California takes a long time to certify its election results. It does so every year, but they also have same day registration. So it's a longer process for states that are really close. For military ballots that were mailed in on a presidential time, you get extra time. They have to be postmarked by a certain date, but you get extra time for those to come in. And so something that's really, really close, if they can't call it that night, I just want to make sure everybody knows it doesn't mean anything nefarious is happening. It just means that it's either close or there's a different process. Like, again, each state has its own laws and regulations. So we probably won't know every state at the end of that evening. The only time like really California gets called is if it's blown out of the water, like it's just, you already know. And some states are like that. Some states are so blue or so red that you just already know, because you know the number that has come in versus the number that are still out there. But if it's not called that night, again, I just want to stress that it does not mean anything nefarious has happened. Oftentimes it means that they are following the law for the most part.
Right. It won't be like the state that they come in early because they ain't got 20 people in the town. They got 2 electoral votes, I think it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they so small that they only got 2.
Yeah, they got like 10 votes. So they hand count them will be all right.
Yeah, right. Right. But when you think about, go ahead, Christina.
Well, I was going to say, like, even in Florida, when something is really, really close, they do an audit of the ballots, and they do go through for a lot of those races, and they do hand count those when it's super, super, super close. So we have that in Florida. We have that when it's within so many percentage points. And then again, by the time of the certification, that's why, like after election night, you always see unofficial results. And then it takes, a while for all of the results to actually be counted and certified off.
Yeah, but but what they want to do in Georgia and other places, because they got about 70 people in place already. They said they have 70 people around the country in place in different places who said they will not certify the upcoming presidential election. So even if Republicans win in those different states, if it's not certified, that means they can't take their position. But then if they get it into the House of Representatives, they're going to make sure that they have a position, and they're going to make sure that Trump has the presidency of the United States. So
Wow.
that's what we're going to have to watch, because the shenanigans is already taking place, and we're going to have to be pushing hard. And the thing about it is unfortunate that Merrick Garland and others are not speaking up enough and making sure that these elections come out, that it's certified. The election is certified so that people who won fairly can take their place as the person that won. But really, I really hate that Merrick Garland they made him Attorney General, because I thought the guy from Alabama should have been Attorney General. That was the senator from there. What was his name? I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, him or somebody else.
Jones, Jones.
Doug Jones, yeah. He would have been a better person as Attorney General than Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland is moving slow and talking like he, in Selma. All that energy in the church. I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, no. People was fired up in there, and he came out there talking real. Well, that's just the way he is. No, 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 no. You ought to be fired up too. You're in a place where you can, you can just, the energy is just flowing in there. You ought to be catching that. You ought to be catching a fire in there.
all them black folk, man.
You ought to be catching a fire in there, and singing and clapping and and they got something going on to psych you up, and you get up there like, oh, what just happened? I'm like, really? I'm like, nah, I can't sit here no longer and listen to this. You barely can hear it with a microphone.
Wow.
I'm like, nah. Yeah,
Yo, are we going to the inauguration on the 20th?
When she win, we ain't gonna say it. We're gonna manifest her winning. So when she win, yeah, we going.
I'm ready, man.
Yeah, we going when she win. Yeah, I hope it ain't too cold, but when she win,
we determine where you're gonna stay, because it certainly isn't in the District of Columbia.
Maryland, you gotta be out. You got to wait outside of DC.
Yeah, if I have to stay 100 miles out, that's fine. I'm
a long way, not 100 miles out. I was thinking Baltimore. You said 100 miles out. You might as well stay in Richmond. Good Lord, that's a long way.
I'm going, man. I ain't gonna let full hotel stop me. I promise you that.
Yeah, well, we are trying to organize. There were a couple of things. Jill, as we were talking about, Jill sent this message that there was flights out of Destin for $700, I believe it was, and it covers 2 nights it covers the airfare plus 2 nights hotel stay. Right?
Really?
Now, don't get excited, because that sounds,
don't get our block, man. Seal our block.
That sounds a little bit too questionable, right? So I'm like, well, where are you staying, number one? Because just because you say 2 nights hotel, I don't want to stay, where people go and canoodle for at an hourly rate. I don't want to necessarily stay there. So just because you say you got 2 nights of a hotel stay, don't mean I'm gonna stay there, right?
The
And
noodle.
that's the best way I can say it is canoodle, right? No, I don't know that I necessarily want to stay there, but certainly is a historic moment. But I would rather take my chances knowing where I'm staying. So
Yeah,
it
I
sounded a
think
little
at a
bit.
$700 package, it should be decent, man.
Well, what is decent? You know,
Where they're not canoodling, I promise you.
Intentions all over you.
so we were looking. All the hotels are pretty much booked. Shout out to all the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha because they have booked every hotel room in the District of Columbia.
I
So
know it. I believe it.
they have set their intentions ablaze. So we've been looking at Airbnbs. They got Airbnbs, hotel, like whole houses. But they're like,
Yeah.
for the 3 nights, they want $9,000. I'm like, you have ever lost your mind. So we can go. We've been looking at some places in Baltimore. We're just trying to decide what the best appropriate measure of transportation to the district is. So
Well,
we
count
decided.
me in, man.
We said maybe we'll do a 12-passenger van, just drive up, all of us get in one van and
Either
go.
way, I'm in. Either way, I'm in.
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you're going, probably staying in Alexandria, Virginia. And then that way you can take the metro in and the metro out, and it's easy to get in and out.
Yeah, but in
Nice.
Baltimore, you can do the same thing too, right?
No, from Baltimore, no, not easily, no. Baltimore's kind of a hike. You want to kind of look at the surrounding area, but stay away from hills, bills, and heights.
Like, I think we're okay. We said we could do that. The group that we were talking about felt comfortable doing Baltimore with Amtrak, and they were like, "Well, what about which Amtrak?" They were like, "Oh, we can take Amtrak." I'm like, "No, wait a minute. There are two types of Amtrak. Amtrak going into DC. There's regular Amtrak where they have stabbings on the train and arrest people for drug trafficking, and you have the Acela train, which is the as I call it, the uppity folks train. You got to be dressed like first class of the travel. It just don't stop. Once you get to Baltimore, the next stop is Washington D.C. So when we used to go, I used to take Acela, paying that $300 round trip, trying to be a little uppity. When I realized, oh, I could get on the Chinatown bus for $10. Get on the Chinatown bus, but
I love the Chinatown bus. I used to take the Chinatown bus from DC to New York all the time. I love the Chinatown bus. But yeah, I mean, whatever works, but I would highly look at staying in Crystal City, Alexandria, around there. And then the metro, you're just paying your metro fare, and the metro fare won't change. It'll be cheap.
Let's make a week of it.
No, can't stay a whole week because we gotta be back in time to elect new Florida Democratic Party chair and all that other stuff. So that will be taking place in January. Or I won't say I'll say elect a new, could be a recurring, but we'll have elections at that. So we gotta be back. So, but yeah, something to think about.
Yeah. All right. One of the things I definitely wanted to talk about, because I've been hearing so much stuff about Black men not supporting Black women in politics. And it seems that, the media is causing us to, or making it seem as if we are separated from each other. And it's a bad omen as far as I'm concerned, that people are saying that Black men are not supporting Kamala Harris. And I'm like, you're talking about that 10 or 15% that never will support anybody in the Democrat Party. But that's not all Black men. 80 to 85% of black men that vote in the country they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. But they putting these rappers up as if they are some kind of intellectual uh, political giants among us, and they got them out there speaking, yeah, we're gonna support Trump. You got the Lil Waynes of the world who are talking about supporting Trump. And I'm saying, no, we're not doing that. The majority of us are not doing that. It's like they have you believe that the black men in this country misogynist, xenophobia, and all kinds of stuff. Uh, and it's just not true. And then you have people on social media, both men and women, speaking ill will of each other because of what's being said. And a lot of them are paid provocateurs to do that. They're making money doing it to cause controversy and to support Trump at the same time because they are making money at it. But it's hurting us in the process. What's your thought, Bill?
Well, I think that we got a lot of bad actors, not just in this country now, that are on a propaganda social media thing that they put all of those narratives out. And if you're not careful, you will buy into it. We that are seasoned voters and know what's really happening don't fall into it. But just as Iran is a major player pro-Democrat, Putin and his regime got some hackers and they are putting out propaganda, man. And it's not just Putin. It's a lot of bad actors out there that are perpetuating that narrative. So that's why we have to know for ourselves and get informed. But I agree with what you said wholeheartedly. You've got that minute number of folk that are going to go against the grain. I don't care what it is. But I think as a whole that we are united behind our dear sister and that the vote shows that we are. But yeah, propaganda, it is a serious influencer. And I think the younger people, I think it may affect a little bit more than a red a yellow dog Democrat that knows how to vote. So we just have to be careful and pay attention. And if we're not, we will fall for it. But you're absolutely right. It's all media driven, social media mainly with that false narrative.
Christina, what's your thoughts on it? How do you feel?
I agree with what Bill said. It's just it's false narrative. It's media driven, and I think it's a way for them to try to divide. I think it is how they kind of pick at the narrative, and I don't believe it to be true. So, but that's my own personal opinion. I would be more interested in hearing what the gentlemen on the panel here think.
Burr?
I think it's a attempt to I think it's a half false narrative. There are black men, that think that way. But I think once they get it out into the narrative that people they perpetuate it, and it's sometimes hoping for self-fulfilling prophecies and stuff like that. So I do believe that the most part we are supported, but you always had that faction, okay? You always got that 10%, 20%, 30%, wherever it is. You're not going to sway in the way. So, and I think that's what they focusing on. That small. My issue is in today's time, we allow the minority to control the thought of the majority, and that's what they're doing right now. Is focusing on that minority viewpoint and making people believe that it's a majority point of view, and I don't think so. I think that we I know most men support the issue, them support Kamala, but then I know some that heck, there's no hopes for, and wherever their reasons are, I don't understand it, their reason, and I don't try to understand it because it just whoever talks to me about it, it really doesn't make any sense. But I think it goes deep down into our sex sexism and misogynist and stuff like that on one hand. On the other hand, it goes into the concept of drinking the Kool-Aid, if you will. If I like to say that for a minute, drinking the Kool-Aid. So, but I believe on November the 5th, we're gonna see a change in this country. We'll see who's going to do that. I truly believe that. I didn't. If you had asked me 6 months ago about Kamala opportunity, that I would have been the very first one to tell you. Not no, but the hell no. They're not going to vote for a woman in this country. They didn't vote for a white woman to run this country. They're certainly not going to vote for a black woman. But I think we got that Obama phenomena going right now, and we need to take advantage of it.
And we're more social media aware of the false negatives that Russia played in derailing Miss Clinton.
Right. Exactly.
So Derek,
Yeah. So I'm gonna be I'll take Jill's place today and be the poo-poo on the parade or the devil's advocate, so if you will. Do I think that overwhelmingly Black men are not supporting Black women, or specifically as we are talking about the subject of Black men supporting Kamala Harris? No, there are 4 of us right here on this panel that are all the way in for Madam Vice President. However, it would be unrealistic and actually dangerous to say that it, in my opinion, to say that it's a false narrative to say that Black men. Do I think it's a majority? No. Do I think that there are a large swath of Black men who are not supporting Kamala Harris? Absolutely. And I think the best example that we have of that is going back, and the most recent example is we go back to 2022 when Stacey Abrams ran for governor of the state of Georgia. Black women all across the state of Georgia galvanized, white men galvanized to support Stacey Abrams. She would be the governor of the state of Georgia had Black men matched the energy of Black women and their white counterparts in the state of Georgia. They were a large percent of the holdout that cost her the election. So when we look at that, do I absolutely think that's transferable as we look at it across the entire United States? Yes. Am I concerned that same amount in proportion to Georgia, if we look at that as it relates to the United States, could overwhelmingly affect the outcome of this election? Yes. Does that mean that we still need to go out to overly compensate and vote? Absolutely so. We absolutely are going to have to get out and do everything that we possibly can. I see when we come when I in the office, I see Black men coming in to buy Halo signs all the time. But the people who come in on a consistent basis are white men and women who come in all over the place buying the signs. Black followed by Black women. Then following up in that is Black men. So we have some work to do in terms of outreach to Black men. I listen to sometimes when I'm driving, leaving the office. Before I switch over, when the car sometimes it switches over to off of satellite radio to local radio, and it's always on the D.L. Hughley show, right? And he had one of his questions that called in. The topic was about supporting Kamala Harris, and as Black men, would you support? And in the 25 or 30 minutes that I was in the car, the majority of the men who called in said no, they have a problem with a woman leading the nation, right? And
Black
a lot of
callers,
black callers on the D.L. Hughley show, yeah. And so, well, at least I hate to sound stereotypical, but they sounded black to me. You know, I'm just going to assume. I don't know that they profiled to say whether they were black or white, but I'm just going to assume that they were black. They were having a problem supporting. Now, the two main points of note were those individuals that I hate to categorize, because I don't know a better way of saying it. But, and I mean no offense to anybody who's listening or subscribes to this, but that Hotep type of lifestyle were one of the buckets of people who said they could not support. And the second group were those rooted in a scriptural base, or as they like to say, a scriptural base, right? And we know that scripture, as we follow it, sometimes from the perspective of a white supremacist state of view, will have us voting wrong, right? And I don't mean to say that the Bible is written from a white supremacist state of view. I sometimes believe that the way we interpret isn't best as our interpretation of what it actually says. But we tend to take the white approach to it. So with that, I think we have a lot of work to do, and I am trying my best to reach out to communities of color, and then certainly to be in spaces where there are Black men, because we still hear. There was a man who called in who lived in California, and he said, "I'm from California, and I know the amount of Black men that she locked up was dangerous when she was Attorney General." And I'm like, dude, you live in California, so you should be the main person who knows that that is completely false and untrue. But you, in the state of California, have bought into this false narrative, and this narrative that's been generated by the right, that she locks up Black men at an alarming rate. It's absolutely crazy. So, and then you have those who are still not supporting Kamala Harris because they are looking for their next round of stimulus that Donald Trump provided.
Do you think, Derry, or the panel, do you think that some of this is also coming from the pulpit?
Absolutely.
I think religion has its roots in this, and because most Black religious leaders are Black men, okay? I think they're preaching this false narrative about men should be the head of the household and men should lead this and based in this religious crap that they bought into. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well. I may be wrong again, but but that's my belief.
I would have to push back on that one, Vernon, for the simple fact that our our religious leaders don't talk about politics enough.
Yeah, that's true.
If they would, I think we could take this election hands down. They don't, man. Whereas their counterparts of the other ethnic group, they constantly do. Post, talk about it, the whole 9 yards. But when it comes to our religious leaders, my hat is off to Zion Hope for this coming up event that they're throwing. My pastor that had the 2025 forum. But if the Black church that holds the majority of the Democratic voting party in their congregations every Sunday morning. Man, if they would push it, I believe we could do it. But I don't think that they are with that. Don't believe in women leadership kind of. No, I've got to push back. But I would like to ask Brother Derek, when he said Stacey Abrams, the black man was the holdout, I would like for you to be clear. Did the black man not vote for her, or did they not vote at all, or did they vote the other way when you say they were the holdout?
So those that voted, 85% of them voted for.
What's the percentage?
85.
Oh,
roughly
my.
between 83 and 85. I don't quote me. I might have my numbers mixed up.
Oh, my.
83 to 85% voted for Stacey Abrams. The other did not. Right. So that made the difference in her election cycle. You know, if we could have galvanized and I didn't poll. I certainly did not poll or listen to any polls that talked about the 17 to 15%, the 15 to 17% as to why they didn't to say it was a woman. I'm not speculating. If I had to speculate, I would speculate that was probably it. But I don't know for 100% certainty. Nothing told me that. So, but what I am saying is that we saw in 2022, and I want to shout out kudos to those black men in Georgia who did what they were supposed to do. But we did have a score that did not, from that standpoint. And I'm going to push back on what you said just a little bit. I do agree that our black parishioners don't, or I'm sorry, black clergy don't talk about politics to the level that they should, right? Or as you juxtapose it to those in white churches. However, I think you don't necessarily have to make the correlation directly to the politics if you're preaching as Mr. Vernon said, the head of the household, or wise submit, or even if you look at it, there are some churches that don't believe women should be in
the pulpit. I agree with you.
Or in the pulpit, right? So if you take that doctrine of belief, if it's good for the church, then you would pull it over and have that same aptitude of thought, when it comes down to politics. So I don't think that they're necessarily saying, I mean, I have heard, there have been YouTube clips that I've seen where a black man said that a black pastor said that they couldn't support Kamala Harris because she was a woman, and people were like, amen, amen, in the church, which I think is crazy, right? But there have been people that are saying that, right? So when we look at it, I wish our churches, and to your point, I want to give a shout out, just like you gave the shout out to Zion Hope. I'm gonna give them a second shout out to Zion Hope, because today I had the privilege of going to their service this morning and setting up a voter registration. I had information about the amendments, candidate detail, and I was welcomed, embraced. They were actively in and getting the information, and I couldn't have felt more welcome. And I'll even tell you an aside. They had Vin Durant, shout out to Vin, had brought a sign, some yard signs that said yes on 3 and yes on 4, right? And I was like, oh Lord, you got a yes on 4 church in the church. Like I wasn't sure how that was gonna go, right? Because we are in church, and I was like, Lord have mercy, what are we gonna do? But it was absolutely overwhelmingly received, and nobody said anything. Nobody, or if they had an issue, nobody verbally said anything, or we weren't asked to take it down or anything. So I wish more churches were like Pastor Mason and the congregation at Zion Hope. So and the fact that they're going to have such a large congregation, the fact that they're taking those steps to educate or allow their parishioners to be educated and make informed decisions is to be commended, applauded. And I wish we had that same level of activism across all of the churches, instead of folks trying to shoo Democrats away because they're trying to get Republican money. I won't say the names of the churches, but you know who you are. or being scared that somebody's going to take away their tax exempt status, because certainly Olive Baptist ain't scared.
Sure aren't.
Certainly Marcus Point Baptist Church
Sure
ain't
aren't.
scared. Certainly Brownsville Baptist Church ain't
Sure aren't.
scared. So I don't know why we are operating the spirit of fear just as boldly as they have those white Republican politicians up in their pulpits talking about voting and voting Republican and all that stuff with brazen. To me, I wish I could get to one of their churches when they have one of these folks come in, because I absolutely would go and just record, just so I can hit record while they're talking and hit end when they finish, so I can send it directly to the IRS and say remove their tax exempt status immediately, effective immediately. So if you see me at Olive Baptist, you know what I'm doing. I'm just so if you see me at Marcus Point, I ain't coming to, don't welcome me in the Lord. You might want to send me out the door. That's all I'm saying. But you know, that's what
there may be some validity to what you and Vern are saying, because Diane on our live Facebook stream says my pastor pushed for Obama the entire time, but interesting, has not said anything about Vice President Harris. So sad. I had it to so sad. She did it.
But Vern, but you're right. The religious community many times has been detrimental to our political agenda, because it's supposed to be a separation of church and state. And, you go over here to get your faith belief, but we know that politics run everything, include the church. Politics run everything. Don't make no mistake about it. And if the wrong politician get there, they can shut down your church without asking you anything, because that's what, under dictatorship, that's what they do. You either fall in line or we shut you down. While they have that freedom to speak to their congregation, they need to be speaking to them in a way. You ain't got to tell people who to vote for, but you can tell them why they need to vote. You can show the comparison without even saying either one's name. You can talk about, why we need to keep Social Security public rather than private. You can talk about regulation, why we need regulation, because what we talked about last week with the cancer alley, the environment, why you need the Environmental Protection Agency to protect you from the flood of the violence of pollution and water pollution and air pollution. That we can talk about making sure that veterans keep their benefits rather than privatizing them. They can talk about dismantling of the Department of Justice, getting rid of the education department that has helped so many people, in Title 6 and 7. We can talk about, they can talk about the limitation of federal involvement in local policing and all of that. That's stuff that they can talk about. So if they're not talking about those things in with their religious faith, then you're just taking the people in a complete circle. And that's according to the Bible. People walked in circles for 40 years, according to the Bible. And that's what we're doing.
2 weeks away from the promised land, brother. Preach, brother Jerry.
All they had to do was walk on the other side.
2 weeks away.
If they walked a straight line, they'd have been in the promised land. But they kept walking in the circle. And that's where some of us are at. We listen to the people who have, they got doctor behind their name, but as Derek said, the doctrine sometimes is not, that's over there. but you got to live over here. The here and now is here. You know, preparing for death is one thing. Preparing for the afterlife is another thing. But preparing to live here and get you some heaven here, you need to be involved in what's going on.
Amen.
You have some milk
Amen.
and honey and some watermelon on your table. You need to be involved in what's happening right now.
Amen.
So
That's right.
that determines whether you're gonna get some food or not. Politics do that, you know.
And
You know,
stop listening. I would say stop listening to, for those of you who watch TBN, all them Jesse Duplantis and all them people with them love you. He is not talking to, they are not talking to people who look like you and I. They're not. So when they advocate for all this stuff, stop listening. You know, you can find your scripture or your sermon elsewhere. Go somewhere local. Stop listening to them folks because they don't have your interest in the forefront of their mind. Like you are the very last person. You're not even the last person. You're just not a person they think about. So all those people that y'all like, some of them love to listen to. I know some people won't be talking. I'll be talking about them people of God. Okay, stop listening to them. That's what I said. I said what I said. I mean what I said. You know.
I have to back you on that one, brother. I promise you I have to back you on that one. 4-6 years ago, the way so-called Christians voted, I had an awakening, man.
And we need a lot of awakening in our community.
Yeah.
But
We do.
You know, yeah, we have allowed, you know, religion to hold us back in many instances. You know, I'm not saying that people of faith should just be totally engrossed in politics, but I'm saying
No. Mm-mm.
politics run your religion, whether you want to believe it or not.
You're absolutely right. The lesson this morning was talking about Alexander the Great, man, and Antiochus. All of it's political. You're absolutely right.
You know, when you see how people are being treated in this country, where are the religious people when innocent people are being put to death, sanctioned by the state? Where are they at? You know, what stand are they taking to make sure that people are treated humanely? You'll take a stand for a dog, but you won't take a stand for humanity.
They changing the channel now, man. Them jokers love them dogs.
I know.
Hey man, I'm still listening to people like this girl that I've known since kindergarten got on my page and told me that I was making an error because that stuff was real and it irritated my soul. But I'm glad that she said it. You know, I'm glad she said it because people who I've had my suspicions about. I'm like, come on, just give me something so I know. And now like I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, now I know. And she to the point, she was like, oh, we went to school. I'm gonna pray for you. No, I flat out told her, don't you fix not
Don't
one
do
mouth
it.
and
Don't.
put two lips together to say any prayer on my behalf because your God is
Everybody
vastly
can't pray for you,
different
brother. That's
from my
right.
God, and I don't know what you're praying about. So keep your prayers to yourself. I rebuke you and your God and whoever you're praying to in my name of Jesus. Don't pray for me, and you can go to hell. That's what you can do.
That's right. Everybody can't pray for you, bro.
All right, y'all. We only got 2 minutes and a half.
Okay, gonna do this book real quick. Kamala Harris. I'm gonna do it up to election day and after. The Truth We Hold by Kamala Harris. We're gonna definitely continue to push that. And The Soul of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois. I think that's everybody need to read that as well. But definitely read Kamala Harris' book, The Truth We Hold.
Hey, Jared. I think that W.E. Du Bois book is very relevant today. Remember the Atlanta Compromise. He and
Right.
the different process between him and Booker T. Washington and so forth. But I think that's a good book to recommend to folks to read and try to understand what we're going through today.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
just want to share. I got a text from Jill who sends her love again, but she wanted me to remind everybody. We talked about the watch parties for Escambia and Santa Rosa County, but the watch party for Okaloosa County is being held by the Okaloosa County Democratic Black Caucus, and that's going to be this Tuesday at 502 McDonald Street in Crestview, and that is the Mount Zion AME Church Resource Center. It starts at 6:30. They'll be doing postcard stuffing, canvassing. You can come have some pizza, subs, snacks, desserts, and they will have a few surprises. So come on out to that. I am going to say thank you for joining us this week. Hopefully next week we'll get a chance to walk through some amendments and talk about how they impact you and what we recommend for you as you go to this ballot box. So we will see you next week, same time. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
We're gonna shout out Lois Blessed Pruitt, who watched the show consistently. And
Yes, Diane.
yeah, Diane.